how often you should measure. So what we believe, what Aaron and I believe, is that you should be measuring KPIs, the most important parts of your business, every single day. Okay? You shouldn't be looking at your sales figures once a month or your finances once a month or things of that nature. You should see everything that's crucial to your business very, very quickly. If you do not have systems set up, there are many ways and many different countries, many different tools, many different ways in which you can measure things. But what we are suggesting is that, for example, if sales is something that's important to you, and it should be, then learn or build a system that allows you to measure sales daily. Everything about sales. How much you closed, what's your conversion rate, how many calls did we make, how many emails did we send, everything that has to do with sales, you should be able to check daily. This doesn't mean you will check daily. This means that if today is Friday at 4 p.m. and I really want to see how we're finishing the week, I can check. I can check what did we close today. If it's Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., I want to check, did someone close anything today? Or do I only have numbers from yesterday? And then I check yesterday. And if yesterday's numbers were horrible, at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, I'm like, guys, what's going on? We almost sold nothing yesterday, right? Like, I can have that conversation because I can have transparency on what's going on a day by day in every single aspect of my business that matters. So now, going into the next part, let's look at what should be measured. Well, in general, every single business, as you know, is different. However, there are in general some commonalities. For example, sales. What did you actually sell today, right? Whether you sell shoes or burgers or financial services or marketing services, doesn't matter what you're selling. What did you actually sell today? If you're a person within the company, like a manager within an internal ops thing, let's say you don't sell anything. However, you still have deliverables. So let's say you're a manager or a director of a engineering team within a company. Your deliverables are new features launched, new improvements made, like improvements in speed or user experience and so on, number of bugs fixed, number of bugs found proactively, right? And so on and so forth. So figure out what the KPIs are for you and track those on a daily, because that is what's going to tell you, is my team winning today or losing today? Are we doing good or doing bad? Is this a good day or a bad day? That's what's going to tell you. If you're in sales or if you're a business owner, whatever, you should see sales. You should see how much money are we spending, how much money are we making every single day. Because some days you might make $10,000 and spend $2,000. It's an amazing day. You have an 80% profit margin today. Tomorrow, you might make $2,000 and spend $4,000. And so now you're in a deficit, right? You made $8,000 yesterday, but you lost $2,000 today. And so you will see how much more fun business can be when you have this level of feedback. Because this is basically feedback. This is feedback from the world, right? And we can go through so many examples. I have a ton of stories. Aaron has a ton of stories. I'm not going to go into the stories now. I just wanted to give you some examples of what you can measure. And you should have, if you're not doing this already on a daily, pick 4 or 5 things. That's it. That's all I recommend. That's your action step. Pick 4 or 5 things that starting today, you're going to measure. I want you to know today how much progress you've made on these things. Or if you can't today, because you have to tell your team to measure them, at least decide on them today and then tell them today so that tomorrow, by the end of the day, you can get that information. Aaron and I also have a belief around transparency that many people hold their cards very close, like they don't share with anyone that works within or for them what's going on in the business and so on and so forth. However, for example, in terms of the example I gave you earlier of we collect money right now from our clients because of our reputation, because of who we are in our industry and so on. We can collect money in advance for work we haven't even done yet. And then we pay people 45 days after that. So now you can say that, well, you can't tell this to your employees. Like, you can't tell this to the people you work with because they're going to negotiate in their favor and so on and so forth, etc. Or they're not going to be happy. that you're keeping the money for so long and they're getting paid so late. Not true. Not true. And I can tell you why. Because the moment someone works for you, their main or one of their main KPIs is stability. They don't want to make $1,000 this month. They want the certainty that they're going to be paid this month and next month and the month after that and so on and so forth for as long as possible. That's their number one priority. And that's the same for you as a business. You want to make sure you're being paid every single month, right? And so you keep making money and you can pay everyone and so on. The only thing you need to do with these people, if you share that, hey, this is how we are doing things, the only thing you need to do is then caveat that at the end to say, one of the main reasons we do this is because we never want to be in a position where we can't pay your salary. If the client has an issue, or if the client is the issue, right, like they're not paying or they're being a burden or whatever, in the first case, like they literally have issues and they can't pay the invoice or whatever happens, you still have a salary. The cash is with us. We got your salary in advance so we can keep paying you for months, even if the client stopped paying us, right? So if the client has an issue, and this happens so often, so we shield you from that financial jeopardy. The client we might have an issue with the client. We will fix that issue before you ever feel it. You're never going to feel the issue with the client. Like the entire world might be burning around, right, financially, but you have your reserves with us and we'll keep paying you every month. This is their most important KPI because they have a family. They have rent to pay. They have everything. They have all of their goals that they have outside of the business that they want to make sure that their work in the business covers all of that, right? Or they have children or whatever it is. So this is basically what we do, right? So we are very transparent with our finances, typically with everyone we work with. They know this is how much we make. This is how much you get paid. They know that based on fair market value, you're a junior, mid-level, senior, I can get someone exactly like you for cheaper. The reason why I'm not getting that person is because I really like you and I want to work with you. So let's say I can get this done for $20 an hour and you're 25. Fine. I'm fine with 20, 25. You need to understand you are 25% above market value, and that's what I'm paying right now because we have a good relationship, right? So that's what we're doing. In other cases, it might be the opposite. You might say, hey, if $20 an hour is fair market value, however, I can only pay you 18 right now. I can pay you below market value, but we resonate very well. I think you will enjoy working here more than you would enjoy it somewhere else where they might be paying you, 10%, 20% more. However, at the same time, you're not as happy as you are here, right? And then you work through that, you hire them for a little bit less. 6 months later, a year later, you give them a bonus, right? Like you pay them more, and then they stay with you longer, you start paying them more, right? So in the first year, you had a financial benefit because you got a $20 a rate quality of work for 10% cheaper because that's the only thing you could afford at the time. And then a year later, right, they might be making 22, whatever. Like obviously there's inflation and so on. Just work with me here for the purpose of simplicity. They might be making 10% more than average market value, but now it's your way of thanking them that, hey, you've been there when I needed your help. Now I'm here, supporting you through this when I need your help, right? When you need my help or when you want to make more. And eventually they will become a senior. When they're a senior, maybe a senior earns whatever, 30 an hour, right? And so they will slowly, as their tenure happens with you, they'll go from 18 to 20, 22, 24, right? And at one point, they're just going to be 30 by default, and they're a senior by that time, right? And so you just keep working from there, and then they make 35 and so on, inflation, etc. But we've had people starting with us at $1,000 a month, and then they end up being at $4,000 a month 2 years later. No exaggeration. Starting at $1,000 a month, and they're 4x'd their salary, right, in 2 to 3 years. And this has happened so often because people really enjoy working with us because we're very, very flexible in all of our businesses. The only thing I care about is outcomes, and we talked about this earlier in early other videos, and in this video and so on. Basically, we're in one place where I really don't care when you work, what days, what times, and so on. The only thing I care about is, are you doing what you and I agreed you're gonna do? And if you get that done, I'm perfectly fine. And people love that level of freedom. We have unlimited vacation days in our companies. People can just do whatever they want, take off whenever they want. The only thing that they need to make sure is that their responsibilities are covered by themselves or by someone else, right?